pulling machine, the interviews. Take one. Hey Kurt, how you doing?
Good.
Angle box thing out, pulling some corners.
Yeah.
You look awesome as usual.
All right, thank you.
Can you explain to us why it takes so much skill and finesse to do finish coating the corners?
Well, I would say because you have all three angles connecting into one corner. We don't have that in this case, but you still have to apply some mud over on this angle here. So that's why it takes a little bit of skill and finesse to be able to make that corner look nice and tight.
So, when you're pulling the corner, if you do it perfectly, how much more work will have to be done with that corner before you're able to paint it?
Very little work. I mean, if it's smooth finish, you might have to sand it a little bit. Or you might have to just kind of stick your knife up in there and scrape off the edges. But pretty much, you know, if you pull the corner right, it's ready to paint just like that.
That's for sweet. What's the secret to pulling the perfect corner like that?
Well, I think the secret is in how you hold your knife. You want to be able to keep your knife as close to the wall and the ceiling as possible. So as parallel to the wall as possible. And then also in how you put mud on your knife. You don't want to go into the corner with mud all over your knife like this. Then you're going to have a hard time keeping it clean. So that's why I try to just go into my pan, get a little mud on my knife like that. Take that mud, apply it nice and tight. And usually after 3 pulls I have it, but I have a little bit of mud here to kind of clean up. And sometimes that's what happens. You put mud on and then it digs into the other side.
So that's why you want to keep your knife as flat as possible, right?
Yeah, so if we just walk over here to this corner, I'll try to show you that again. But even as I'm walking to the next corner, I'm trying to get it to a point where I have mud right in my pan. So I'm always constantly flipping my pan around so I could take that mud and clean it off right in the corner of the pan. Each time I do a corner, I go for that same amount of mud in the corner of my knife. So I'm able to kind of keep control of that mud.
Yeah, you get the same amount each time, huh?
Mm-hmm. Something with this edge here, I'm just having a problem with that today, but other than that, it's pretty good. I don't know how dark it is in here for you, but you can continue to very dark.
Very dark.
Follow me around.
So no one may even see the corners in there, but you're still pulling them perfectly.
Yeah, that one was really good. Even though the camera might not have caught that. That's probably why it's so perfect, because the camera can't see it. But like I always say, my work is better in the dark than it is in the light. But if you can get, you know, as you've seen me pull a few corners, if you can get the same system down for each corner, like I'll usually start on this side, I'll work over to here, and then I'll do the ceiling last. You pull it the same way every time, so that it's consistent every time. You're going to end up with the same result pretty much every time. A perfect corner.
So Kurt, do you think you could take us through the corner pulling process all together, one step at a time?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. So, as I'm moving on from the previous corner, I'm scooping mud into my pan to get prepared for the next corner. And like I brought up before, you don't want to have too much mud on your knife. Just keep it in the corner of your knife. And then try to get it as close in there as possible. Pull it nice and tight. Again, pull it nice and tight on the ceiling. You pull that nice and tight. Sometimes you may end up digging in. That's fine. You can just kind of get in there. And then it's done. I've seen guys that take a lot longer to pull a corner than just, you know, 1, 2, 3, and then a little cleanup. So, if you continue that process on to the next corner, again, I already got the mud ready. Just push it up there. You're kind of pushing it and pulling it at the same time. Keeping my knife as close as possible. I mean, that's pretty close. And when I come back later, I can just kind of scrape that out. And this job is actually getting a texture, so that'll be fine. That's ready for texture. Move on to the next corner. What we want to try to do is keep your mud again on that corner of your knife, keeping your knife parallel with that side you're pulling. Same with the ceiling. There was a little edge that I created there. You can easily just clean that up. Because when you're applying the mud, you're not just applying the mud on this side of your knife. You're also using the other side of your knife to feather that edge. So you're kind of pressing on it with your finger, applying the mud, but also feathering the edge. And that makes it easier to sand. Was that it then?
Oh, one last question. What do you think you're better at, corner pulling or playing basketball?
Corner pulling.
Well, you heard it here, folks. We just got the master corner puller to teach us some of his secrets. That's it for this episode of Drywall Tutorials. Tune in next time for another exciting drywall tutorial.
Where we'll have guest Hulk Hogan.
AKA Eric.